Melania Trump posted a video denying any connection with Jeffrey Epstein and saying that everything to do with the files is baseless and false accusations against her. She had nothing to do with child trafficking. She had nothing to do with what she called as crimes, although the evidence is overwhelming about her and her husband's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. They've had pictures together. They were known to be hanging out together very frequently. Donald Trump is mentioned dozens of times, and he is mentioned in a very negative manner. Soon after she had that video, someone very close to her that was deported from the United States spoke up and threatened her with action and what she called her pedophile husband. However, something very strange happened shortly after. Let's go back to what Melania said and then what happened afterwards, who that person is, and was she threatened with murder?
About what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop.
Okay, so denying everything, I wasn't involved in anything. Everyone wants to make money out of me. I had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Again, although the evidence is overwhelming and the photo evidence is overwhelming too, and we haven't even reached the tip of the iceberg with the evidence against her and her husband as well. And again, she could have easily been one of the people who were trafficked with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's how she was introduced to Donald Trump. Multiple indications that she was introduced to Donald Trump through the Epstein regime, the Epstein link with one of their clubs, right? And some people were involved in this, including a man called Paolo Zampoli. And that leads us to the woman that threatened Melania. And with what? Why did she delete her posts afterwards? And what was the reason behind that? So Amanda Ungaro, a former model and ex-partner of Trump's ally Paolo Zampoli. Paolo Zampoli has been connected with the Epstein network. He is an ally of Trump. And as a matter of fact, he is a special envoy in the Trump regime now. Yeah, like Jared Kushner and co, they have positions without necessarily having the background, simply because they are part of the network. So Amanda Ungaro, Brazilian former model and ex-girlfriend of presidential envoy Paolo Zampoli, posted a series of increasingly aggressive messages on X aimed at Melania Trump. She vowed to tear down the First Lady's corrupt system and threatened legal action, accusing Melania and her husband of long-standing misconduct. The timing of these posts, hours before and after Melania's public denial of any Epstein connection, has fueled speculation about a deeper personal and political rift. Now, did she know that Melania is about to have posts, or what exactly? You see, it gets more interesting because Ungaro was deported by none other than ICE. Why was she deported? She was deported because Zampoli, with his connections with Trump, ordered ICE to deport her because she didn't have the necessary documentation. Of course, she was trafficked like the others, like the rest of them, and apparently she was working without the right documentation. Now, he was her ex boyfriend, ex partner. They have a child together. There were custody issues. She blamed him of being a drug addict, of being abusive, of participating in rape, and what have you. And then he managed to deport her through ICE. She was arrested in Miami in 2025 on fraud charges linked to a cosmetic clinic, detained by ICE for months, and deported to Brazil after her visa had long expired. Ungaro claims she was abandoned by Melania during her detention, a grievance that appears central to her current public attacks. All right. And she was with the Epstein ring before, likewise with Melania. What did she say? Okay. Thankfully, some of her deleted posts were still there, and we managed to get hold of them. These are the posts. I have nothing to lose in my life. And she's tagging FLOTUS, First Lady of the United States. I will tear down the entire system. Be careful with me, BITCH. I will tear down your corrupt system, even if it's the last thing I do in my life. I will go all the way. I am not afraid. Maybe you should be afraid of what I know, of who you are, and who your husband is. Will take legal action against you and your pedophile husband. I have known you for 20 years. You knew I was detained in ICE. You were present in my life every year on my son's birthday, even sending Secret Service and being the first to congratulate him back in 2016. Something was clearly wrong, but I am not part of any evil mission involving children. So, what did you do, Melania? You tried to involve me, but you failed because I have character. What did Melania try and involve her in? Is Melania involved in the trafficking too? After being trafficked, was she part of the recruitment? What was it exactly here? Child trafficking rather than recruiting, really. I will tear down the system. She's clearly talking about the Trump regime. She's blaming Trump of being actually a pedophile. And she is saying that Melania knew that she was detained in ICE. She was detained in ICE again because her ex-partner tipped ICE, and of course, because of his connections, managed to deport her to Brazil. It's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. And she wasn't in it involving children. She had all of these threats. Okay, heavy stuff, not stuff that we don't know, but more details to it. After a short while, everything was deleted. Why was it deleted? Everything was clear and public. Melania Trump knew about it. Trump knew about it. The Epstein regime knew about it. The last thing that they need now is another scandal when the President of the United States is taking every step possible to cover up anything to do with the Epstein files. No one is being questioned, no one investigated, no one arrested, by the way, because with these cases, you need to arrest people immediately. They're a threat to the public. No, they're in the government, they're in power, they're leading the country, and they're managing to control ICE, an IDF trained organization that shoots Americans to death in the streets, and have done this with this woman after she was deported because her ex-partner didn't want her to have custody over their son together because they had a feud, and she was blaming him of being a drug addict. Did Trump threaten to kill her? Did the Trump regime threaten to kill her if she would not delete these things? Did they say, we'll come after you? and we will make sure that that's it. You're dead. Did they threaten her with herself? What happened exactly? We're not sure of that. But what's for sure is the cover up continues from Trump downwards. No action against anyone connected with the Epstein child trafficking pedophile network. Nothing to do with helping the victims. As a matter of fact, they're shaming the victims outright, putting them at risk by publishing their information, ridiculing them too. And this recent move is yet another move in the very many moves of the Trump establishment to cover up everything to do with Epstein and anyone involved in the Epstein files. Right now, misinformation spreads faster than facts, especially on the most sensitive global stories. NVP uses uncensored AI analysis to verify the most controversial topics and separate signal from propaganda in real time. Instead of guessing who to trust, you can see structured verification and analysis behind every major issue.